Welcome to the Mortgage Podcast, where we give tactics, strategies, and inspiration to get you to 10 plus loans per month. We talk a lot about how to make a ton of money in mortgage while also being happy and thriving in your personal life. If you want to be a mortgage millionaire, you're in the right place. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mortgage Podcast with Todd Scrima, where we are here to get you to 10 loans a month. Well, this is very specific. So this is a really good topic for so many individuals, almost everybody. I just coached a group today, and one of my loan officers was closing 22 loans, one closed 27, one closed 15. What we're going to talk about is how to get to those levels. Right. And I'm not saying any of this is easy, but it's perhaps easier than you think. When I first started in mortgage, I actually got denied. I interviewed with 3 mortgage companies. I was just coming out of college. The other 2 gave me job offers, but not the one I wanted to work with. So I was like, I actually called the CEO and waited on hold for a long time and said, hey, I want to work for you, but I got these 2 other offers. And he says, I'll give you one more chance, interview with this person. Anyway, eventually got the job. But once I started, I said, hey, do you have someone here that's doing really well and they're maybe a couple years in the business? He says, yes, I got this guy. You can be his buddy system. And the buddy system was pretty simple. I had to spend 2 hours a day shadowing him for 6 months. That's what I did. And this guy was doing about 9, 10 loans a month. So my vision, my very first vision around this was to get to 10 loans a month. Now, I tried to sound like him. I paid attention to going on sales calls with him. I reading my guidelines, and I was so into it. I would just think every day, how do I get to 10 loans a month? How do I get to 10 loans a month? And I finally discovered, oh, this many leads go to closing, so I need this many leads. And the number was about the same as it is today. It was 50 leads to close 10 loans. And then I was like, how many loan apps is that? How many loan apps is that? Okay, that's like, in order to close 10, 67% go to closing. That's 15 loan apps. Okay, I got to basically take one a day, right? Then I created visual aid. So for years, I had this visual aid, and the numbers changed, but it said how many leads to get for the month and how many closings and what my income would be. And that was taped in my car. It was on my computer, and it was on my desk at home, and it was in my closet. So I used visual aids. I just got into this vision thing. And I just thought, hey, if I think about this and dream about this enough, someday it's going to happen. And that's exactly what did happen. The reason I share all that with you is if you do these 5 things I'm going to cover, you're going to close 10 loans a month. You see, now, 32 years later, things are much more clear to me. And I want to share that clarity with you so that you can be successful, so that you can close a lot more loans. And so I'm going to go in order of how this works, but I want you to think about each one. And I want you to think, am I really doing that right? So, and by the way, when I go through all this, I did every one of these wrong. And then one by one, I had to learn how to do them better. So the first one is proper target marketing. There was some stats. I actually verified this with one of our realtor coaches, Marjorie Adams. I said, hey, at our last event, I'm like, did 74% of realtors literally not close a deal last year? And she said, yes. That wipes out 70% of realtors, say, in today's market, or 74%. So of the, let's just call it 25% left, who are they? And how many deals are they doing? And where is my avatar? Avatar is a fancy word for target market. Who's my avatar? You have to pick your own avatar. But what I will tell you is it's pretty much going to be like the top 10% of whatever group you're going after. That's pretty much always the target market. Because the problem is, if you call on people doing no business, it's a total waste of time. If you call on people doing a little bit of business, that's also almost a total waste of time. Not always. Sometimes and I've done this where you happen to meet someone and they're just getting started and then they just take off fast, right? And you become their business partner. So that's not always the case, but you could even target market them. Say, I'm going to target market, say, realtor. I'm going to target market realtors that have been in the business 1 year or less, and their number of deals is going up. They're increasing fast. There might be in your market 300 realtors last year that started a year ago, but only 10 that are increasing in production. So instead of calling on 300, I call on 10. I text the 10. I stop by, their offices. I send them gifts. I call them until they call me back. I offer them big value, like that kind of stuff. Massive focus on the 10,
The other 290, you don't talk to, you don't text, you don't database to them, you don't email them. That's an example of proper target marketing. Now, in the beginning of my career, this is probably what I did the worst. I had no clue how to do it. Proper target marketing, and you can do target marketing through Modex, MMI, Reader. I mean, there's a lot of databases now that you can subscribe to and get this information. So that's number one. Number two, or second step, is how do we create value? This one's elusive, and there's a lot of reasons for it. And this could be a whole podcast in itself. What I mean by value is, what is it that the client wants? Now, I'll give you an example, just to get our brains going. What is the value of Amazon? Obviously, a very successful company. Well, they get stuff to my house in a day or so for about the same cost as me going to the store and getting it. So I might as well order it. Their app is very easy. It's fast. I can order Q-tips in 20 seconds. That's value. That turns into value to me. So value doesn't have to be always some crazy, instrumental idea that blows everyone away. That's where I got stuck on this one. Another example. Let's say that, let's use a dating now. I always love dating now. Let's say that man and a woman are starting to like each other. They're dating. And he picks up on the fact that she needs consistency. They've talked about it. She's never had consistency from a man before, and she really craves it. And so he starts giving her more consistency. When he says he's going to call, he calls. When he says he's going to pick her up at 7, he picks her up at 7. If he's going to be a little late, he texts her out of courtesy. That would all be examples of consistency. And that made up lady in this example would feel, I'm getting something that I've never had and I value. That's an example of value. When we talk about creating value, sometimes I call it offers. Sometimes I'll use the term hook. Those are all examples of how do we offer more value to someone. And I'll give you the ultimate example of this that's silly, but in logic class, they teach you to take something to the extreme to see if you're right. So this is that technique. I say, hey, I want to meet with you and I want 15 minutes of your time. No matter whether you're interested in what I'm selling or not, I'm going to bring a duffel bag of $50,000 in cash and leave it with you. It's yours and it's legal money. It's not fake and it's not stolen. Okay, I'm going to meet with you. So if what that illustrates is if people see enough value, they will always meet with you. Now we got to get the in-person meeting because that's how we influence people. We could talk about this ad nauseum. I'll give you one more example. And I use this in Jolt right now. We found a database that we paid for that has every single investor in America and that own 5 or more homes, and they've bought at least one home in the last year. We got the database for the entire United States. Then our dialers, our appointment setters, called agents and said, hey, would you meet with Todd for 15 minutes? He's a lender, and he developed this list. He's got 10 investors in Dallas that own 50 or more homes, and he wants to work this list with you and co-market with you because these people are buying 2 or 3 homes a month and selling 2 or 3 homes a month. And you could probably get another 10 or 20 deals from 1 or 2 of them. A lot of times they say yes, because what's the realtor want? The realtor wants listings. The realtor wants commissions. That's a pretty easy script to say yes to. And it's great value and it's truthful. So that's an example. So we've got to offer something of value. I spend some time on this one because I think a lot of people don't get this one. It's like and I'll just beat up on men for a second. Men get married and they're like, oh, I got the woman. I'm married. I'm good. No flowers anymore. No dates. No back massages. No help with the kids. Like, I'm good. I'm married. It's a contract, baby. We all know how that ends. We have to add value. Our job is to serve. And that's what's behind this. Okay. And the better way that you present that, the better way that you present it in this nice little package, this nice little bow, then, oh, that's great. Okay. Now, number 3 is outbound calls. Now, this one I actually got right. This is the main one I did right. I had a mentor tell me to make 30 calls a day, and that's what I did for years. I'm going to say I never had a bad month. After I became established, I rarely had a bad month because I just contact a lot of people. Now, that same mentor said something to me that really made a big difference for me. He says, look, out of your 30 calls a day, 10 of them need to be people you don't know that you want to get to know. When I figured out how to call people I didn't know, offer something of value, I found that 20% of the time I would get an appointment. So if you're doing the math, if I made 10 calls, I always got 1 or 2 appointments with people I didn't know. Well, if you think about that, I'm meeting 5 to 10 new people a week that I didn't know. I don't close every one of them, but I'll close about 20% of them, and those become accounts for me. So I got really disciplined on outbound calls. And it's probably, if you were asking me in sales, the number one thing I did right, that was it. Proper target marketing, create more value, outbound calls. Now, by the way, on outbound calls, I have found, I know this is a shocker to you, that 99% of salespeople will not make outbound calls. They'll make them for one day and then not the next. They'll make them 2 weeks from now and then not the next. They'll make 5 instead of 30. And my encouragement is just to outsource it. I'm being literal. I am not making fun of people. I'm not trying to be mean. Just hire someone to do it. There's VAs that can make calls for you. Your kids can make calls for you. Your LP1 or 2 can make calls for you. You can hire a call service. Like, there's so many options. Just have people call and set appointments. That's my advice. Number 4 is a formal sales process. Again, big topic, but let me simplify it for you. If you meet with someone, and I teach a process that a lot of people know called the 2-step close, but let's make it even simpler. If you meet with someone and you show genuine interest and you ask a ton of questions to really understand them and get to know them, and you have any way of helping them with whatever that thing is, and you tell a signature story that I just did a podcast on so that they get to know you a little bit, they see your heart, you will close a good percentage. Let me say it again. Sales process where people go wrong, thousands of hours fighting with people about this one. They always say, Todd, I do all that. Then I'll go on a sales call with them and they don't do it at all. I'm like, dude, that sales meeting was all about you. That meeting was all about you. You said I 52 times. So this sales process sounds simple. It is simple. It's really hard to get selfish salespeople like us to be that serving. Let me say that one more time. It's really hard to get selfish salespeople to be of service, to be interested in someone else, to want to help someone else, to show genuine concern about someone else. It's hard. I know we all do it, but to do it consistently with every client is where people screw up. So that formal sales process, I teach the 2-step close. Yes, it gets a little more complicated than what I just said, but in general, it's about being truly interested in someone, being able to show and feel that way, show your heart a little bit, and then come back and present some solutions that'll help them. And if you can follow that, you're going to do great in any sales career. Now, the 5th one is a simple follow-up system. Oh, people struggle with this. So let me give an example. And I got a text here from one of my coaching students. His name's Steve. So Steve, I talked to him yesterday. He left me a voice text saying, hey, this follow-up stuff really works. So I said, oh, what happened? He says, I just got 5 appointments and 2 deals. I'm like, how did you do that? He says, I sent a text through Reach, like you say, and I sent it to 37 agents that I had met with. Okay, send me the text. So here's the text. Hey, Christy, I've been seeing your listings pop up, and you're clearly staying busy out there. I noticed that the one on 1409 Northgate Drive, man, buyers are just so hesitant right now. Like they want to buy, but they don't. It's frustrating. You notice how builders are still moving everything, even though the market's tough? I've been looking into what they're doing, and we started doing the exact same thing on resale homes. You'll be blown away by how simple this is. I tried it with 3 listings that were sitting for 2 or 3 months, and they all went under contract within 2 weeks. If you want, I can walk you through it. It might help with that one of yours. Are you free for a quick call next week? 5 appointments, 2 contracts, with that being texted to 37 realtors. Now, there's a lot of one of the strategies I teach in follow-up is to have all your realtors on an app where they get an individual personalized text from you that says, hey, Cindy, I'm working this weekend, I'm around. If you need something, holler. Happy Mother's Day. There's just so many simple follow-up systems. Now, I'm not suggesting you that follow-up systems should always be a text. Or a voicemail. I don't mean to suggest that. It's one of several things. But if you just had 1 or 2 or 3 follow-up systems, you're good. Give you an example of another follow-up system. People say, Todd, I met with this realtor twice. We agreed to do business together. I really like them. They seem to like me. And then we never called them again. So every time you meet with someone, have a whiteboard in your office and just says, counts I need to meet with once a month, and put a check mark next to their name when you meet them in person. It could be a coffee. Maybe they came to your house for dinner, however, right? But have a quality meeting. The 3rd follow-up system that I teach a lot is to have set meetings. So if they're a big account, and I did this with a lot of people, is I'm like, hey, If we're doing a lot of business together, there's always things that we need to talk about. I said, why don't we have a 30-minute meeting once a month in person, either at my office or your office, and the only subject is how to get you more business. That's all we're going to talk about for 30 minutes every month. That's appealing because they're like, oh, 30 minutes every month just to talk about how to get me business. Okay. You want to see them because out of sight, out of mind. So let's say that you just did these three things: a text every 2 weeks, and you had the whiteboard in your office, and you, on the bigger accounts, you had preset meetings that every 1 month or every 2 weeks, depending on how big the account is. Let's say that's all you did. That's enough for follow-up. Now they're going to get your email drips and they're going to get your social, right? So there's other things that happen, but those are kind of automated. If you think about it in those terms and you're able to do those 5 things: really good target marketing, create simple value, do a lot of outbound calls, have a formal sales process, and a simple follow-up system, you're going to do great. You're going to make 40, 50, 80 grand a month or more, for sure. Now, it may take a couple years of doing these things, but you will. And that's how you get to 10 loans a month. Now, I got some exciting news, and this is going to be a little self-serving, is I created a company called Jolt they do those 5 things for you. So we do all your target marketing. We create all the value. Offers change every 2 weeks. We do all your outbound calls for you. We do it, not you. On average, we set up 22 appointments a month. We teach you a formal sales process. So we coach on that every single week, what the sales process is and little bits and pieces of it, so we get really good. And we do part of your follow-up system for you. That is why I created Jolt, is because these 5 things can be done for you. Now, what that does for you is, if you think about it, most of your time is spent taking loan apps and serving customers or meeting with referral accounts, such as builders and realtors. So I'm big into outsourcing. I'm big into things done for me. I actually think that a lot of companies will thrive the next 10 or 20 years on done for you. And the reason I say that is there's a lot of things going on in life. We're all very busy. If you can outsource something and automate something, it's almost always better than you trying to do it, because there's one thing that we all struggle with, and that's time. We only have so many hours in a day. And so in order to maximize in your work life, the things that make you the most money, it's those 2 things I said. It's meeting with borrowers and it's meeting with referral accounts. So if I can take you from doing that 2 hours a day to 6 hours a day, your income's going to triple. That's how it works. It's not in 1 month, but over 6 months, it works. This client who I just read that text from, he doubled his income the last 5 months in Jolt. He just gets so many appointments and he closes a certain percentage, and now he's doing the follow-up system. It's not easy, but it works. And last time I looked, making 40, 50 grand a month is never easy. So if you're of that mindset where you're like, hey, I really want to do something big, it may be something to look into, or you could just do it on your own. I hope that makes sense. My goal with all this is to take all my knowledge and to help people that really want to do something special in this industry. This podcast we just talked about on the 5 keys to 50 leads a month, this is how you do it. Yes, there's more details to it, but as an overview, that's exactly what you should be doing, okay? I hope that helps. You may want to send this to someone that's not even in the mortgage business, or someone that is in the mortgage business that wants to do great like yourself. If you would share it with one person, I would deeply appreciate it. It's how this stuff spreads and how we get proper information into people's hands. Have a beautiful week. I appreciate you listening.